Every specialized cell in the human body follows a strict rule. What it looks like dictates exactly what it does. Its physical shape is a blueprint through its job. Take this ciliated epithelial cell. As we can see in this diagram, the main body of the cell is roughly column-shaped, standing taller than it is wide. The defining structural adaptation sits at the very top edge of the cell. Covering this upper boundary, the apical surface, are tiny hair-like projections called cilia. Each individual cell carries hundreds of these short, dense bristles. Because of that dense, brush-like arrangement, these cells are built exclusively to sweep external material across their surface, rather than performing internal processing. To see how that sweeping action actually works, we have to look at this diagram of the human airways. Here, these cells sit side by side to form a continuous flat lining. Resting directly on top of that cellular layer is a thick band of mucus. As you breathe in, this mucus acts like flypaper, trapping incoming dust particles and airborne bacteria before they can reach deep into your lungs. To get rid of that trapped debris, the cilia go to work. They don't flail around at random. Instead, they beat in a precise, coordinated wave, rippling in sequence from one cell to the next. That sequenced rippling creates a strong directional flow. It physically pushes the heavy blanket of mucus and all the trapped dust up the trachea and toward your throat, where it can be swallowed or coughed out. The cells themselves never leave their anchored positions in the tissue. By working together, their microscopic waving forms a continuous, macroscopic biological escalator. Cautionary tone. Because they look similar on paper, it is easy to confuse cilia with a completely different cellular structure, the flagellum. Looking at this split-screen comparison, the right side shows a sperm cell and a bacterium. They use flagella. A flagellum is usually a single, very long, whip-like tail used to propel the cell itself forward through space. On the left, we have our ciliated cell. Cilia are short. They exist in high densities, and they belong to cells that stay firmly planted in one place to move the environment around them. Let's test that understanding. If a person inhales cigarette smoke that paralyzes their cilia, what happens to their airway system? The answer relies entirely on the distinction between a cell moving itself and a fixed cell moving matter across its surface. When cilia are paralyzed by smoke, that coordinated, rippling wave instantly stops. Without that mechanical pushing force, the protective mucus layer stagnates. It thickens, sags downward, and begins to pool inside the lungs. Because the trapped bacteria are no longer being cleared out, they multiply in the stagnant mucus. This forces the smoker to cough, the only mechanism left to clear the airways, and leads directly to high rates of respiratory infections. To summarize this for your exams, lock in these 3 specific points. First, the structure. Ciliated epithelial cells have hundreds of short cilia located on their apical surface. Second, the mechanism. Those cilia beat in coordinated waves. Third, the function. They move substances, like mucus in the airways or an egg in the oviduct, over a stationary layer of cells. That specific form allows the cell to keep the body clear and protected.